Ring, 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 Hero Simpson.
Don't say the P word.
Merchants? Peasants?
God damn it. Oh my fucking God. We're all poor now. Don't you know? The market's dumped.
Oh no, what are we gonna do? Welcome back to Cross Magical Certificate.
We're gonna be farmers from now on, bitch. And I'm a farmer already. Welcome. That's a cowboy, not a farmer, sir. What the fuck? Anyways, welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and early start to this nice Monday morning over here. We got a new week of new opportunities and some new things to be looking at. Some big signals coming in, certainly at the end of this week for the monthly closure. But even before then, we have one today. We have actually two today, and we have a big one at the end of the week as well. So this is very, 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 very likely to be a big week, probably catalyzed by big earnings plays in the traditional markets, as we do have several of the big tech stocks having some pretty important earnings going on. So I do suspect that there is going to be some massive price action catalyzed. Of course, I believe that I've made my sort of biases known on this channel rather clearly, but we're going to be going over that again today and sort of the big things to be watching out, especially for today's closure, sort of to follow up on how these signals have essentially been evolving over time. Of course, as always, we'll go over the hopium scenario as well. But as Bitcoin trudges onwards and forwards, especially from the last few days, that hopium scenario continues to dwindle in the ever decreasing light. Anyways, I am massively sore today because I actually met up with someone from the cave yesterday. I met up with someone from the cave. He hit me up randomly. He said, "Hey man, do you want to go for a work?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man. I've been working out for a long time. Like it's gonna be all good." Fucking wrong, man. Super humbled by that. That guy just absolutely wrecked my shoulders as if I've never worked out my shoulders before. It's insane. Very embarrassing, very humbling, but man, that was a good session, man. That was a very, very good session. Anyways, so with that in mind, I got a shit ton of caffeine to get into over here. I see a lot of people in the chats right now as well. 683 people watching right now, 165 likes on the video. We're doing all right. We're doing okay, all things considered, of course, seeing as the market has been, more or less not just down, but more or less boring, which I think is even worse for, of course, engagement on the old social medias. But man, I was very surprised to see yesterday's video actually. Perhaps the influencer title was the key in that one. Anyways, good morning everyone out there. What's up, Jose? I see you, brother. Mr. Wally, the boy wonder, he's back. Man, Wally, I gotta tell you, ever since you stepped into the cave, I think you were like a spark, man. You're like the young spark, and now you've lit a fire, and it's like everyone's got a fire under their ass now. This is amazing, man. We got a lot of really, really good people who joined up. I think since especially like October, November, there's been like a really good core crew in the Discord recently, which I've really been enjoying, man. Like the whole culture now around back testing and making sure that you really verify your results and that you're playing out your plan. That is where we want to be, baby. That is where we want to fucking be, because that's where you can actually have a goddamn edge in a game like this. And I absolutely love it, man. I absolutely fucking love it. It really feels like a community of colleagues rather than like, oh, let's just follow, whoever because they sound, really certain, right? That's fucking awesome to see, man. So I'm really, really happy with that, man. Which stable do I like? Says Health Plan. A nice name, by the way. Crypto Meg, good morning to you. And Gary Gensler from the SEC is here. Holy shit, run. No. Which stable do I like? I don't hold any stables, but I would go with whichever one is most insured in your portion of the land. I came into this market in 2016, 2017, so I will always have my reservations around Tether, for example, but for what it's worth, nothing's ever come out of it. And, they've been having ongoing litigations and all sorts of questionable things going on for, 5-6 years plus, and nothing's come out of it. So, kind of have to put that in its, in its place, I suppose. And more importantly, it's always going to be a calculated risk, right? But I suspect that probably the USDC seemed to be set up to be like the most legitimate one in the up and coming segment, I guess. But, these things probably take time. Anyways. Love when your girl laughs at your jokes. I know, man. It makes me feel like I'm actually a little bit funny. Hey, what's up, Nimbo? But you're not. Oh, really? You're not. Well, fair enough. Anyways. Hee 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 hee. Yes, very. Ha 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 ha. Ho 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 ho. Stop. Ho ho. Someone's going to complain. I know. Someone's going to probably complain that I'm also talking on my channel's live stream as well. There's always this one guy who's been commenting on like every fucking live stream, like, Krown, you've lost the plot, man. You're so disconnected because you didn't start until like X amount of time. It's like, sir, I think you failed to understand the purpose of a live stream. You know, it's more of like a hangout, get a little bit of chat done, and then we'll get into the analysis once I get the appropriate amount of caffeine in me. But again, good morning to everyone out there. I think we got a lovely moderation crew. I see Sinegra. What's up, Mr. Sinegra? Yeah, we could look at NASDAQ. I can actually add that to the list. I don't necessarily, or let's see, would it play into the analysis? Like, is it going to be relevant? Let's just double check over here. Before we reference it. Whoa, that's fucking ugly. That's fucking ugly, man. Will it go for a new low on this move today? Yeah, very likely. I do think so. But a new low below the 15th of March or so? I don't think today. I think if that's going to happen, probably happens off the backs of earnings. Anyways, I'm going to go back on over here. And people connect so tough. It is what it is, man. I understand that it's the internet. And I always have to remind myself that, hey, you know, we're speaking to like a rather, you know, a crazy large community. I should just be grateful for that. And, you know, seriously speaking, there's always going to be some people who are just, you know, they're just like that, you know, they're just like that. So, you know, have to take the good with the bad, obviously. And honestly, that's been one of the unforeseen benefits of having a channel like this. It helps me stay humble, basically, because there's always going to be somebody who's, you know, who's just, you know, unhappy or criticizing or whatever it might be. And, you know, people are free and allowed to do that in a free society like we mostly live in. So it is what it is, man. But for the most part, 99% of things on this channel are just absolutely massively positive, which is great, man, which is fucking amazing. So cool. Grand brother, is that a new terminology? Nice cave, but when den indeed. Actually, Elsa has just created a new Twitter account for the Krown trading application. She's going to be tweeting out data from the Krown trading application, the relevant data, each and every day. Maybe even a few times a day. So if you are interested in such things, check out on Twitter, Krown Trading app, of course. Also should probably do my own sly little maneuver and and let you know that on Instagram there's a bunch of scammers going on right now. I can assure you it's not me. If you're interested in the or if it's not the Instagram account that is linked in the description below, it is 100% not me. I do not have a secret trading group. I don't have like a secret thing or whatever. I'm not gonna manage your portfolio. I have my hands full of doing my own, as you know, especially as of well, not so much recently, but this year definitely. So, you know, I can assure you of that. Look, in general, when it comes to the internet, if it sounds too good to be true, probably is. Also, if it sounds too good to be true, with Bybit giving you a $4,000 deposit bonus, they do actually do that. But the reason why it's too good to be true is because you're probably going to get wrecked, especially if you don't have a fucking strategy. So, while I do have a link for them in the description below, as always, I feel like it is my moral obligation to let people know that, hey, while, you know, I actually endorse Bybit, I do like them, and I think that they've, if you're going to trade on the Wild Wild West exchange, it's probably best one right now, especially in terms of liquidity. You know, if you don't already have like good experience, and you more importantly don't have a winning strategy, which you can not have to risk any money at all to make, which you can just use a testnet account for, probably not wise idea to just jump on a leverage exchange, as it typically ends in tears. Anyways, other than that, we got 1,000 people watching right now, 327 likes on the video. That's good, man. We're doing well. We're doing really, really well. Flour plus salt plus freshly squeezed cow. What the fuck is that? Has Dixie popped above your blue box yet? No, I don't think so, because I moved my blue box because I was wrong. I was wrong on the prior one. So I think it did test the top side of my prior one, but I don't think it's going to stop there, to be honest with you. Or at least if it does, it's going to be catalyzed by something likely that Jay Powell says if he talks this week, which I don't think that he is. I could be wrong on that, but I believe his next one is May, like the next big one. Bill Gates is pregnant. Yeah, I saw that. That was great. Dixie Normus says, not quite savage. Nice one. What's up, Ice Sniper? I'm really wanting to see some potato milk. What the fuck? Dear Lord. Young Emu says, I lost 1,000 lever trading after making 500. Yeah, man. I mean, that's typically the story. Like, the problem is that, you know, especially if you have like early success and you don't really have like a real strategy. I don't know if this is your case or not, but it kind of gives you a false sense of confidence. And then you think that trading is probably easy, which it's, it can definitely be done. I never want to be discouraging to people, but I would not say that trading is easy, if you will. I would say that it's doable. It's certainly doable with the right amount of effort. But yeah, that's the problem with coming into typically like a parabolic bull market, which we're not in right now, obviously, but a lot of people got that false sense of confidence last year. And it's been probably a humbling experience ever since. And it's just the age-old story, man. It's just the age-old fucking story. Yeah, so I've been seeing this a lot, Mr. Don Task, 007, nice one. Big James Bond fan myself. Is Bitcoin making a huge bear flag? Hey, why did that get retracted? Basically, you're asking, is Bitcoin making a big bad bear flag? I mean, technically speaking, you got a rising channel going on like that, but I typically don't see the sort of shape that we're looking at, actually resolve and play out those moves, which is what I'm guessing you're probably going off of. Now, the channel move probably does happen. That has a higher probability compared to the flag move. But yeah, typically when you do see like flags, whether it be bull flag or bear flag, they're typically tighter. They're not this wide. So I think that a lot of people are kind of going off of that and having like these crazy downside targets, of which, I can definitely pull up some pretty nasty downside targets as well, but not like all the way to 10,000 or 15,000 at least yet. I think that those people are just, I think that they're misguided, to be quite honest with you. And I think that they have a lack of experience because if you actually back test those flag formations, they do not have a very high hit rate. I mean, if memory serves me correctly, this was a very long time ago that I actually did this. This was like 4 or 5 years ago now. It's like somewhere around 20%, which is not relevant as far as I'm concerned. What's up, Nice Kitty? What's up, Big Boy George? Good morning to you both. He obviously didn't want to ask. He doesn't want to know. You don't want to know what my target is. 10K is straight greed thoughts. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's just I don't see any reason to be looking for it as of right now. When I think in terms of trading and analysis, I always want to be coming from a statistic and probabilistic standpoint. Doesn't mean that's always going to be right, but I just don't see anything that leads me to believe that that is a relevant and appropriate target to be speaking about. I think at worst right now, somewhere in the mid to low $20,000 on like a washout move, which, still a lot of things need to even happen before then. I mean, for fuck's sake, like Bitcoin at $30,000, that's going to be a big area to begin with. You're going to see some, it's probably going to take some time if it's going to happen at all. That's the kind of problem with getting too ahead of ourselves because, I did the same thing in 2018 where I was talking about targets down to $3,000, $2,000, for like well in advance before that breakdown actually happened. But, how many big bounces happened before that breakdown eventually happened? Many, actually. It took about half a year since I really started talking about it. So, it's in my opinion like better to be more aligned with the appropriate and more relevant targets rather than like stuff that I think might get maybe a little bit more engagement on social media because it's more shocking, if you will. It's more shocking, which obviously does get a lot of eyeballs. Trade the charts, not buys. Yeah, man. I mean, if I traded my buys, I'd probably be broke. What's up, Elizabeth J, a man of class, I see. Nice. Nuclear war, 20% inflation. I'm surprised things have held up as well as they have. Yeah, that's the problem though, is that we don't have the, we don't have the luxury of foresight, and neither hindsight. So it's like you can say that right now, but what happens if that happens tomorrow? That's kind of the problem with that sort of a thinking. I've never really liked it too much because I just don't think that, events matter. Yes, definitely, but you can't trade off of them, in my opinion. They don't make sense, at least in that regard, is what I'd argue. And if someone has a different idea, I'd be happy to entertain that. But I have some pretty powerful arguments against it. I think the most obvious is like, going back to March 2020. The coronavirus started in like December, January, basically, and we didn't see the dump until March. It doesn't mean that it needs to happen right there. Okay, let's BitBoy up in here. BitBoy's up in here, baby. All right, let's get down and deep and dirty into it. Let me see how I want to adjust all of this. Yeah, we'll start off with CME over here. Okay. Here we are starting off with Bitcoin. As always, I want to first follow up on the short-term timeframes as we do have the new week opening for CME and of course the last week closing for spot price action, which is going to really play into some big signals that are going to be resolved. Two of them today, one of them at the end of this week, and then the biggest one is going to be the monthly, of course, at the end of Saturday, I believe it is. Anyways, with that in mind, we'll start with the short-term timeframes right here. And as always, I like to start with CME when it is a Monday, of course, as it typically does have just better signals in general. And as we can see right now, Bitcoin obviously slinking down, and we do see that it is, potentially going to put in a little bit of a bounce, maybe after heading slightly lower, somewhere around the top side of this blue box territory would be fair game. But ultimately, all bounces are failures as long as Bitcoin is, especially below 40,400. But I'd go as far to say that as long as Bitcoin's below 41,500, there's really no, the hopium technically isn't like dead. It's not relevant as far as I'm concerned. Now, with that in mind, if we go reference our short-term timeframe stochastic momentum, we'll probably notice some pain points for the short-term timeframes right here. And as of right now, we actually do still see it again on CME pointed downwards as long as Bitcoin's below 39,600. Naturally, that number will move down when we get the next closure in 43 minutes and 46 seconds. And because it is so low already right here, I do feel like it'd be kind of aggressive to call another meltdown exactly from where Bitcoin's at right now before, maybe a short-term rally. But again, when it comes to short-term rallies, there's not really any talks about even like a short-term reversal, especially as long as you're below 40,400. But I'd go as far to say that everything's irrelevant below 41.5 for BULAs. That'd be the earliest region where I'd say, hey, the hopium scenario is starting to get a little bit of little bit of love right here. But the one supposedly or potentially good thing to the BULAs out there is that because of the way that the weekly closed on both CME and spot price action, I would feel quite comfortable saying, I don't think it's likely to happen, but I'd feel quite comfortable to say that if Bitcoin does trade above last week's high, which is $43,000 on CME, and I believe same thing on spot as well, then I would confirm this as a local low. It would also be the third higher low in a series of higher lows. And it would also be within the context of incredibly low volatility. And at that point, I would be looking for Bitcoin to put in a nice rally, probably finding its way up towards the deeper 50s, low 60s in the coming months. And short term, I'd be looking for it to very likely trade back up into the shallow 50s, the $52,000 region right here, as Bitcoin would still be kind of, doing something like this, putting in a slew of higher lows. It would technically mark off the characteristics of an ascending triangle, which is a bullish reaccumulation formation. And that would have a technical target, all the way up here, on its final move. The problem is again, I don't think that that's very likely, and for reasons we're going to discuss soon enough, I think that the downside is still more likely here. It's just on the shorter term timeframes, I don't feel. I do feel like it might be a little bit aggressive to be looking for it to kind of like come down more from where we're at right now. And within the context of our current volatility signals, if we do go back into a contraction phase, which right now we're not, to be fair, but if we do, and you see that go back down below the moving average, probably going to bounce back up somewhere around shallow $40,000 territory as momentum oscillators are pretty aggressive to the downside already. So with that in mind, we should also reference the 6 hours. This one typically is pretty damn good. And again, still downside angled as long as Bitcoin's below 40,350. 3 hour, which I also like, is going to be showing downside below 39,000 bucks. So technically above there right now. And hourly is probably up, I would imagine. And yes, it is. And we'll be remaining with upside pressure as long as Bitcoin's closing above 38,850. So short-term timeframes, does Bitcoin bounce? I do think, it's certainly possible here. Bounce targets into the low $40,000 are okay, I guess, if it even gets there. We also do see that funny rates over here on the daily and the hourly are both, somewhat negative. I mean, these are very small numbers here, but it is relevant that 2 days ago, or sorry, not 2 days ago, but yesterday, we did see the lowest funny rates that we've seen in a little bit of time. But ultimately, we do expect negative funding rates when Bitcoin is or an asset is in a strong downtrend. That's exactly what you saw in 2018 for months on end. So yes, shorts are paying to hold their positions, but they're not really being tested all that much. So the problem is that you can't really squeeze a position that's in profit, right? And this whole fucking idea of short squeeze just, oh man, it really grinds my gears. Anyways, so now we need to get into what I think is a little bit more likely, or actually before that, let's go over here to Dixie and let's go address Mr. Sinegra, as I thought that was actually a really, really good question. And for Dixie over here, I am looking for continuation a little bit more, actually. I do think that because of the way that it took out the high area that we looked at from last week, I do look at this as likely to probably trade maybe even to the back end of this blue box territory, somewhere between 102, maybe even as much as 103 or so. So I certainly was wrong on that one last week, but if and when Bitcoin, or sorry, not Bitcoin, but Dixie hits that region, I would be looking for a pullback. And, pullbacks can come quite well far down, maybe even down to 98 or so, give or take about half a buck from that number, which probably correlates to the general markets finding a nice low. Problem is, between that point and reaching this region over here, that would imply likely downside. And long term, I'm massively bullish on this chart, to be fair, based off of the quarterly, which maybe we don't need to go fully into right now. Anyways, let's now go into the fun stuff on Bitcoin, or maybe not so much fun stuff for some people. But we'll start off right on over here. So we're going to start off first with the daily signal. The daily signal that we spoke about from yesterday has been confirmed to the downside. And what am I essentially talking about? First and foremost, we start off over here on daily BBWP, measuring volatility, the dispersion of returns. And what do we see? We see the lowest volatility read for the longest time, basically since January. January's major move to the downside, by the way, or at least I believe it was. Yep, it was. It was actually a very quick, about 25% move to the downside. Whoops, I'm on the wrong pane right here. And basically all of these last 10 iterations that we've seen in the past year and a half here have led towards about a 20% move to the upside or the downside from that expansion time. Now, the reason why I'm calling it out right now is, again, because we are, one of the lowest times within the context of that. And that would imply that the move from this expansion probably is going to be maybe a little bit on the higher end. So perhaps as much as 25 to 30% overall. If we were to kind of forecast price targets based off of that, if expansion comes exactly from here, that would put Bitcoin somewhere around about 48,000, maybe a little bit less than that right now because it is 39. To the upside, if that happens, to the downside puts Bitcoin somewhere around about 33-ish, let's say, basically your weekly lows. And then what I've also done over here is I've looked at the stochastic momentum on the daily, and the reason why I'm calling it out is because we confirmed the downside signal from yesterday's video. Not only is it confirming down, but it is also being held within the bearish control zone. So in the past, I would say that the results from looking at stochastic momentum alongside that volatility expansion have been pretty damn good. The problem is we still need to see this actually tick up here. And once it ticks up, you will see, probably a 20, maybe even 30% tick up in percentile, which, means that it's probably going to happen quite fast if and when it does get going. But as long as that is pointed to the downside, it does have a higher probability to break down from here. Maybe after another short-term bounce possible. I don't feel, again, too married to that idea. But out of the last 10 iterations, 8 of them have gone in the same direction as the daily stochastic. So pretty damn good results right there, and would obviously imply, a rather big move. I guess on average, you could say that this happens over about 2 weeks, but there's a big there's like a big variation between a lot of these as I did measure them out. Anyways, on top of that, we need to now talk about, of course, the 5-day, which is also closing today. And the 5-day is one of the big charts that has been, kind of keeping us more on the defensive side, if you will, for this channel. And that is this. Again, the 5-day BBWP is coming down to levels that we really haven't seen low for this long, basically since like July of 2020. Actually more like September 2020, before Bitcoin mounted that assault from about 10,000 to 20,000 bucks actually. And anytime that we have seen it, basically within the teens, it has, on average resulted in about a 45% move from that expansion level. And as of right now, we're getting yet again another tick up here. So it's going to signal that the move is probably coming within this next 5 days after we get this next one, this closure tonight. It is starting to increase the likelihood of that, and also above the moving average as well, which is, kind of what I look for to verify that the expansion is going to happen. Just like the daily typically happens pretty damn fast as well. That first leg typically brings you like another 20 to 30 percentile move on the daily, 5-day BBWP. And just like the daily, the 5-day also has really, really good results with the 5-day stochastic momentum oscillator. In fact, for the past couple of years, it's actually been perfect in the direction alongside the volatility expansion. Again, we haven't seen the volatility expansion just yet, but when we get this next tick, probably within this next 5 days. I would guess. I can certainly be wrong on that, but then we can just kick the can down the road again. But as long as Bitcoin is below this level right here, it will be remaining with downside pressure, and that is $46,000, which is pretty fucking far away. So probably not likely today. And that number will probably go up actually coming into tonight's closure, which again happening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So do keep an eye on that, because this one, being that it is about a 45% historical signal, would imply that to the downside, I mean, those targets get stretched out a bit more over time, typically over the course of the next 40-ish days, if you will. To the upside, there's your hopium for 60,000 or so, give or take. But as of right now, again, the probabilities favor the downside. On top of that, we have the weekly, which just closed last night, obviously. And what did the weekly do? The weekly on CME is going to cross to the downside for the first time since basically November, like November when Bitcoin was at all-time highs, albeit it's not in the critical, bullish control zone. To be fair, it is in the neutral zone here, but it'll be remain with downside pressure as long as Bitcoin's below 42,100 and change. And then even more importantly, or perhaps more relevant for right now, the weekly for I guess it doesn't really matter, or it's not that much different, but weekly for spot price action is pivoted at $43,000 or so. So that is to say that, hey, if Bitcoin does trade above last week's high, I would consider this whole thing one mega massive bear trap. You're going to see all of those volatility expansions very likely come with upside price action, which means big targets up into the deep $50,000 in the next month and a half to 2 months, and momentum will flip back above last week's high as well on a weekly schedule. So with incredibly low volatility on the weekly as well. So all of this stuff is incredibly important to me. But as long as Bitcoin remains below those regions, especially just $40,000, for example, I do look at the higher term timeframes as more likely to resolve to the downside. I don't think that is, I think that we can save the monthly look maybe for tomorrow, as it's still got like another week or so. But I think that'll do it for this right now. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. And well, thank you. Nice. All right, let me just polish this coffee off. Elsa's describing her power to the chat. Or do you feel powerful, sir?
Simon said he was Northman and it's me and you.
You watch Northman and it's me or you. And here's the real Bitcoin analysis. What? 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 Wait, what? Why? Not the time for a super chat, sir. Hi, Nikki Page. Good morning to you. Moon boys go. Oh shit. Okay, that's enough. It's a family-friendly channel. We're talking about sex whores today. Cool. Thank you for that one, Wally. All right, let's get to the chats. Augustin Kapka says, XMR on weekly, you beautiful beast. Man, that's the best compliment I've received ever in my life. Thanks, man. Let's go check out Monero. This is actually one of the good actors last week. We did say, however, a pullback very likely incoming, and we've gotten our pullback, but is it likely to trade a little bit lower? Let me get rid of this for a second. Where are we at? Yeah, we did come off the 0.5 there. Okay, we could record another video on this one, I guess. Maybe this is relevant to people. Who knows? YouTube gonna get you, man. I'm surprised I made it this far already. So it's it's all downhill from here. Anyways, I don't know. Should we record this one? Let me just check the last one. Oh, by the way, I should let everyone know. The Krown trading application is going to be going through some like mega upgrades today, which I'm really excited about, especially with the trading journal, which we have a lot of new features coming in, and also what was the other thing? A few other things as well. Maybe I'll keep them a surprise for the time being. Let me just double check over here. Okay. I sent, oh, by the way, Elsa wants everyone to know that I sent her that video when we met, and now we're engaged, so it's all good in the fucking hood now, isn't it? Anyways, For Monero here, I actually do think that it's going to bounce a little bit more, but I don't think that the downside is actually over just yet. I do think it will go for the deeper retracement, probably somewhere around the 618 here, which is about 240 or so. Actually, I'm going to adjust that because it didn't get exactly as high as what I was looking for. Yeah, just below 240 though, really doesn't change it too much. So short term, likely a little bit of a continuation on this bounce, might even bounce back up towards 265 to 270-ish region. That's all fair game right here, but ultimately, I do look for this to very likely come down a little bit more, probably alongside or especially if the rest of the market comes down with it. So short term, perhaps something like this, right? Where you get maybe another bounce, another lower high, and then likely coming back down somewhere between about 235 to 240 or so. That's where I think that you put, if this is going to end up being bullish, that's probably where this one does put in a higher low long term. But I do want to express that this one will be mega bearish. Okay, maybe not mega bearish, but it's going to cough up the majority of this last rally that you have seen to the upside, which is a pretty impressive rally, but it would be quite unsightly to see this one close below about 230 or so. So tight margins right there. But ultimately, still among some of the better charts that we're probably going to see today. It's just, is it going to be immune from the rest of the market's movements? I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that as of right now. I do think, however, you probably got at least another bounce here, and that probably correlates with Bitcoin bouncing as well. Although it looks like fucking garbage right now in the short-term timeframes. I have a difficult time calling for a continuation move from where we're at right now. Why the fuck is this not loading? What the hell is going on right here, man? Hey, trading view, for fuck's sake. There we go. Finex will work. Yeah, 4 hour will turn back above 247. I'm probably looking for a short-term bounce here, but I do think that the bounce will get faded. I will be wrong on that idea, and that'll be invalidated, and you're probably going to see 300 plus if you do see even a 4 hour closure above about 280. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right there if I were to be looking at that. Hey, what's up, Jason? Everyone check out Jason, Mr. Jason Pizza. I demand admin role. Make me an admin. Wait, what? What is this? What are these demands that are being made over here? Check out Jason's channel. He's got the non-hopium, or he's got the hopium free, not the non-hopium, but the hopium free channel. There we go. His brother's really, really good as well. Michael Pizzino, actually. And what's up, Derek? I demand that everyone here eats carnivore for the rest of their lives. How about that? How about that? Donna says, Dana or Donna? Could you please look at Ethereum USD 4 hour and daily? Yeah. Let's actually first put it on over here, and then maybe we'll look at this angle over here. Yeah, Ethereum just looks like a fucking sick dog. It looks ugly as fuck. Wow, that is very unsightly. Yeah. All right, let's record it. Here we have Ethereum versus the dollar, and we are seeing a continuation of the breakdown that we were looking for last week. The targets on that breakdown were somewhere within this blue box territory right here, which is between about 2650 on the low end and as much as, I'm actually going to lower this a little bit, and as much as about 2750, so a nice $100 range right there. Technically speaking, you would have, your rising bottoms kind of coming in line with that trend line right there. To be fair, if Bitcoin does dump out, probably not going to hold, although there likely is a short-term bounce there, to be fair. On top of that, if we do look at daily BBWP, we're seeing the lowest volatility reads that we've seen since December of last year. I'm going to remind you what that move looked like from December last year, and that was this move starting with this 4100 high before going down, ultimately reaching that volatility maximum at about 51%. So I'm not saying that a 50% move is coming, but likely a big move is coming here. And for right now, if we take that from the last high, even 30% puts you back at your last weekly low. So while I technically should say that there's likely a bounce around that 2650 to 2750-ish region, if that region does break, which I imagine it probably would, to be quite honest with you, it probably does reach for its weekly lows here. We still see some pretty hefty downside pressure, although things are getting pretty a little bit overdone as of right now, but I think that they still have probably one more to go. Daily stochastic momentum has turned down freshly coming into today's open. And will remain with downside pressure as long as Ethereum is below 3,000. So I would highlight 3,000 as a nice, or maybe not so nice, semi-reversal zone. It's not even really reversal. I mean, reversals happen above about 31.25, but it would be a good sign that a bear trap is likely incoming above 3,000. So that is to say, as long as Ethereum is below 3,000, I do look at short-term rallies if it even gets them as likely to create lower highs before heading lower and resolve in the daily daily and higher term time frame signals. Obviously on the weekly and the 5-day, we are going to see downside pressure if this 5-day tonight, which closes tonight below 29.15, will turn to the downside. And let me remind you what happened the last time we saw the 5-day stochastic momentum turn to the downside. That was back on over here in November. And that was quite literally your current all-time high, which is not great. Sorry, that's the weekly. I apologize. Let's go to the 5-day. Oh my God. No, it's even worse, man. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? This market's wrecked. This market's... Oh, I already have it in there. We see a trendline rejection here right at the edge of the bullish control zone. It's already turning down the magical number to be closed above tonight in order to force it back up. It's 33.65. We've all seen crazy things happen, right? But it's fucking ugly, man. Look, I'm all for hoping and everything, but look, I do think that this thing will probably trade back down towards the past sort of weekly lows here in the next, probably the next few weeks, if it's going to happen. The only way that I'd invalidate that would be, first, I need to see a goddamn daily above 3,000, and that's not even like a condition for reversal, but that's just a condition to get out of like wrecked zone right here. Above about 31.25 on a daily is where I'd say that, hey, you very, very likely have an incoming mega bear trap, fully confirmed above 3,600 with targets back up basically north of 4,000. But, it's just not super relevant right now. 4 hour, just playing out some hidden bearish divergence. I think that, good portion of that move is probably played out, but I do look for volatility to let us know when we're probably going to find a little bit of a bounce. And for right now, it's continuation. So looking for at least one more drive of continuation here, probably a bounce, short term at around 2,800, I'd imagine. Short term bounce, though, again, not the same thing as reversal. Ultimately, I look for the daily to come down somewhere around here before I look for the next like major bounce, if you will. And again, major bounce, not the same thing as reversal either. Just, bounces up and look for the next lower high until we get an actual reversal. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sirs and zers. Lol. Ugly, man. Krown, such a pleb, says XHI. All right, well, thank you for that. Thank you for those sentiments, sir. That was really, 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 really clever, man. I hope that you thought of that one all by yourself. Will Chaplain, appreciate that, man, but feel free to have a message as well. Or if you do have a message, tag Elsa and she'll send it to me. Yeah, I see. So Mr. Ahmed is next, and he's looking at AVAX USD. And when would be a good price for an entry, in your opinion? Look, you're talking about a 4 hour. I don't know if you're a 4 hour scalping. I don't know if you're 4 hour trend trading. I have no fucking idea, man. So for me to give an entry based off of that is just, it's not relevant, to be honest with you. And I understand that it's natural for people to just, you want direction, right? It's like, no, man, I have no way of knowing your trading preferences nor your trading strategies. I can make it. Well, I can't really make a good case for like doing two different things right now, but one's a good place for entry. I mean, look, like if you're thinking that this thing is going to bottom out soon on a fucking 4 hour, no. Sorry, I don't mean to be that direct, and I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, are you looking to hold this for the rest of your life? I would not be buying up a fucking 4 hour for the love of God, nor anytime soon either. I do think that you're probably in for a nice bounce, either where exactly you're at right now, which I think is maybe a little bit less likely, or what's a little bit more likely is probably down around your last major lows from 15th of March, which is about 67-ish to 68 or so. Probably a little bit of a bounce there. Again, easier to watch Bitcoin in these cases. Should we record this video? Yeah. All right, here we have Avalanche, symbol AVAX versus the dollar. Daily is in a nice breakdown following the good old LARP lines right here, and I am heavily bearish on this one, especially as long as it's below about $81. Anyways, within the context of current price action, it should be known that daily volatility is at the lowest levels for the longest time that we've seen, basically since October 2021. The last time that we saw them this low, it actually was resolved to the upside. That was this run here, starting at about $57 before reaching your all-time high at 150, but ultimately, volatility is direction neutral, obviously, and right now the direction bias based off of momentum oscillators does favor the downside for another move. So I would be looking for bounces around your last weekly lows, which is basically at around middle of March lows, which is 68 or so. Yeah, 68, give or take about $1 from that number. So probably a bit of a bounce there on your shorter term timeframes, like a 4 hour. But for right now, this one, is it's fucking ugly is what it is. I don't even look at this as a potential trap until you close a full hour above 72.5. So that'd kind of be my invalidation for the short term. Until then, it's just a nice little breakdown right here off of a rectangular consolidation, which actually are pretty good formations, to be fair. It's one of those ones that no one talks about too. Anyways, AVAX USD over here. Let's see. Daily is freshly down again. Again, really, really critical here. So it's not going to take too much to get this one on a bounce, but $74 is going to be the magical number to turn it back up. So that is to say that especially as long as AVAX is below 72.5, I do look for this one much more likely to reach downside targets first. Above 72.5, I look for a little bit of a rally toward that 74 number, and then a daily closure above 74, and I look for it to continue to play out the range here with a little bit of a trap, as we're seeing right now. Do I think that that's likely? No, but that would be my conditions for such things. 4 hour, again, really, 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 really overdone and critical here, but you know, about to cross down again with any sort of a closure below about 69.92, which you're ever so slightly above, so wouldn't really take too much. But ultimately, look, if Bitcoin dumps down, this thing very, 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 very likely goes with it. And of course, the big signal that I'm kind of waiting on for resolution today is the 5-day, and the 5-day I think is quite obvious right here. I mean, shit, if Bitcoin really dumps out and we see like a big, you know, 20-30% move to the downside, I'm saying if not we are going to, then I'd be looking for this one to come down towards $50. Actually, we do see 5 days stochastic momentum, just like all the other majors, is rejecting a trend line regression here at the bullish control zone, and it's having heavy downside pressure as long as you're below 97.5. Weekly just closed yesterday night, again going to be holding within the bearish control zone and turning down freshly with any sort of a closure at the end of this week at $80. So I do think that there's significant downside risk here. There's no talks of any sort of a bear trap or potential reversal, or, you know, bear trap, we already went over that. Potential reversal, I mean, it's not even a topic conversation until at minimum we're back above like 80 to 81. But you know, path of least resistance right now does seem to be a little bit more downside angled. And I think the hopium is that you maybe come down to these March and January lows and put in a low structure there. But for right now, you know, not the most healthy, barring. We need some more news, guys. We need some more bullish news. So hopefully that's helpful. And there you go for Avalanche. Let's see. I think we have Mr. Onhel. Mr. Onhel, good morning to you, sir. I've been all right, man. Had a good workout yesterday, but absolutely fucking wrecked. Now, waves on the 17 and 23 hour. Is this? I know you think my time frames are crazy, but there are interesting differences. I mean, there's gonna always be differences. There's always gonna be a fucking time frame. There's always gonna be, you know, difference between them, of course. But I would imagine that a day, like, I'm just curious why. I don't care what those time frames are looking like, man. This one's in breakdown mode. I would not be surprised at all to see this one back down towards $10-11. Now, I guess I'll reference what you're looking at, but it seems like you kind of want me to confirm your beliefs by looking at exactly what you want, which fair enough, you know, I can do, but understand that would well, let's just see before I judge it over here. Perhaps maybe I'm eating my words soon enough. Okay, so Trollinger bands don't even get registered on a time frame like that. Maybe a daily. Okay, so you're basically looking at the bottom side Trollinger bands there, and you're going to bounce off of those. No, man, when they squeeze like this and then they start to open up again, that means that volatility is going to be expanding, and if volatility is expanding within the context of current trend, probably more downside and probably starts to trend below those, to be quite frank. Look, man, and when you see price action like this is not fucking this is not fucking bullish. You could argue it's bullish, like maybe back around $25. You could say that, you know, it's just a technical pullback. I'd say it's a pretty fucking aggressive one, but the second that you start to close below $25, no, man, this thing's a lot more likely to unravel the majority of this rally. You're gonna see momentum turn down here alongside volatility expansion. I mean, this is unlikely to end well. It's going to be bounced along the way, of course, on the weekly and daily. You're probably going to get a bounce at $15. And I guess I'll just briefly reference the time frame we're looking at here. Might as well. I don't want to add this to my fucking list, which is already too long. No, I don't want to add. No. I'm not adding this. 23 hour, a fucking 23 hour, man. A 23 hour. Well, I guess whatever. Hey, man, if it's working for you, don't let me dissuade you, but I'll add this godforsaken time frame to my charts here. Sir, it's pushing the bottom side Toronto band right now. It's not a sign of strength. And I think you already played out your pity bounce from getting there before. I'll be wrong on that if you trade back above like 19.5, but look, I think that there's significant downside risk here. And I think that saying anything else is just feeding the nastiness of hopium. Look, the 5 day, it's not looking good, man. It's going to be bounces. Certainly, there's going to be bounces. You might even get another bounce towards like 25-ish, but looking down here overall. BK, what's up, Mr. BK? Near USD on the 4-hour, daily, and weekly. Okay. So I remember this one was one of the strong ones for like not last week, but the couple weeks prior to that. We were saying a pullback here, and we're getting a pullback. I don't think I'm going to be right about a bounce here. I think I'm going to be very much wrong about that. I think I'm going to be very much wrong about that. Let's see. What? Okay. Will Chaplin is actually back here, so we'll get to this one in a second. Have you had any luck testing BBWP Jewel Light? I mean, it's literally based off of it. I found minor confluence, but haven't got much of a success rate as of yet. Yeah, okay, so the Jewel Light and the regular Jewel, the color changes for them, they're actually incorporating BBWP. So what you should be looking for, like the ideal signal, is you want to see incredibly low BBWP. And when I say incredibly low, I should actually say relatively low. Below like 25 percentile, really, really good. 25 to 35 percentile is kind of what I consider low. And then you want to see the Jewel on whatever time frame that you're looking at, preferably as I went over in that program, the hourly, 4-hour, and daily are the ones that work, or at least in my opinion work well for the kind of way that I'm describing. Is you want to see first low BBWP, and then you want to see the Jewel itself turning direction in around one of the critical zones. So in this region right here, or in this region right here, and those are the signals that typically have some pretty high hit rates, especially on the hourly actually. And some people have tested lower term time frames as well, and they've liked that, but I haven't really found much for myself on lower term time frames for what it's worth. So yeah. Anyways, back on to near here. Let's see. Yeah, so last time we looked at it, we set a pullback down to this 0.5 at 1380. We've gotten that. There might be a short-term bounce here, but I don't think it's going to bottom out here. I don't think it's going to be like the bounce here. I think this one very likely does trade down to the 618. It's not really showing anything like great here. So short-term, if you're on a 4-hour, you might get another bounce. I don't feel too married to that idea. If you do, I think anything below 15 and a quarter is irrelevant for calling a reversal. I mean, shit, even that's like not good enough. 15 and a half was probably good enough. Look, what I'm looking at right here, look, actually, to answer Will Chaplin's question, this is actually a perfect signal right here. Daily BBWP coming off of the lowest levels for the longest time that you've ever seen on this asset fucking ever, and you're seeing daily Jewel. Okay, it's not a perfect signal, but it's a pretty damn good one. You're seeing it getting a fresh downside tick as of 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago on 23rd of April was fully confirmed. I suspect that this one's going to be met with more downside price action and find a nice bounce somewhere between 12.5 to 12 even. And at that point, just be looking for a bounce. I would not make any further analysis on it. Not great right there. What about a 5-day? Yeah, 5-day I do think does come a little bit lower. This looks like a nice little local high being confirmed on a higher term time frame. So next move down most likely, unless if you get like a heroic close today above 15 and a half or so. All right, Mr. Dr. Roxo says, hello, Mr. Krown. Hello, Mr. Dr. Roscoe. KDA short-term and long-term, how low can it go? Well, the answer is always 0, but probably not very likely. How low can it go? I know that this one has more history than this, so maybe KuCoin. Yeah, really fucking ugly here. Really fucking ugly. The question is, do you get to bounce off your January lows yet? This one's already at its January lows. Dear Lord, man. If Bitcoin dumps out, this thing is gonna be fucking cream pied, man. It's gonna be what that GIF looked like earlier. Fucking ugly, man. Traditionally speaking, I should be looking for like maybe another bounce off of this region right here, that being like 455 to 470. I mean, you're already basically there. You're 465 right now. Look, I mean, maybe get another bounce here. Maybe Bitcoin bounce as well as possible, but this is extremely likely to be resolved to the downside over time. It's just to me, it's more of a question of when. The only invalidation that I have on this one for being mega long-term bearish is if you see back above about $7 on a daily closure. Until then, you know, it might be one more bounce here where you get another lower high and then break down. It might just break down from here. I don't know. I have no way of knowing that. But if Bitcoin does break down from here, this one very extremely likely will, and there will be an implied target based off this as a redistribution formation, which these are the few formations that I actually think work. Ascending and descending triangles, and also to a similar degree, rectangles as well, and channels are okay. But in this case, it would imply target back down to like $2.50. So I'm, you know, it's to me, it's like a question of when, more or less. Do you get a bounce here or not? I have no idea. Again, if Bitcoin dumps out, very likely this one dumps out as well. If I'm looking at the 5-day and other higher term timeframes, it looks a lot like it wants to do it this week. It looks very much like it wants to do it this week. It looks fucking ugly, man. But yeah. I mean, this one just, it's doing the, I'm going to reference Jackie. It's doing the dying swan right now. So I usually look for bounces along your last like spike lows like this, but it's looking really fucking ugly, man. So I'll just leave that right there. Again, what? Martin Hunt is next. He says, good morning. Oh, go down. Oh, Steve S is next. Okay, Zill or Ape? Zill probably better because it's going to have more history. Thanks, bud. Hello, bud. Hello, pal. Also, wait, what? Oh, also Zillica is not a racist name, so that's also going to be good. But it is a shitty chart, at least for the short term. It's not that bad compared to some of the other ones. I'm just talking shit, man. I apologize. I would be looking for a continuation of this move to the downside, though, 9.5 cents or so, and probably short-term bounce there. Long-term, you know, no talks of any sort of macro reversal as long as you're below about 15.5 cents. Like weekly, you're probably going to get a bounce at like 9.5 cents, but long term it's holding up relatively better than a lot of the other charts we've seen today, which is good. If you're on a 4-hour, which you are asking about, yeah, I think you got maybe one more swipe a little bit lower and then probably bounce somewhere around about 9.6 to 9.5 cents. Other than that, no real strong opinions on it. Short term, you know, could call a bit of a short term trap above about 11.5 cents with targets back up towards 13.25 to 13.75. Long term, I would actually look for a continuation to new all-time highs with any sort of a daily above 16.5. Again, I don't think it's very likely right here, especially given the general market, but if it were to happen, yeah. And also long-term to the downside, any sort of a daily closure below about 9 cents, and very likely looking for the next big markdown. But for right now, you know, just another short-term continuation, probably a short-term bounce there. Come back to a little bit later. Again, if Bitcoin dumps out, this thing very likely follows. Cool. All right, now Martin Hunt, he's looking at XRM, or do you mean XMR? Because we already did XMR. Yeah, I'm gonna guess you mean XMR. But you're basically asking medium to long-term bullish invalidation. I mean, honestly, like granted the rest of the market, it's hard to be looking for this to happen. But you know, if you do see a higher term time frame closure, like a daily, 5-day, weekly below 230, I would say this one very likely is very likely going to come back down well below $200 in like the following months after that. But that'd be my invalidation essentially. Until then, technically speaking, it is still one of the better charts in the short-term timeframes. I just have a very difficult time looking for an altcoin basically to be doing something different than the general market. Just in general, it's a good rule of thumb, although not always perfect, of course. Ian Gazard says, Gazard, very, very exotic. Solana 4-hour and we daily. What? And a we daily? What, you mean like look at a daily? We can do that. Sol. Okay. I see a lot of Twitter expecting this dump now. I'm sure there will be a few surprises. Yeah, I'm sure as well. And this is actually a good question for me to ask. What is your general sentiment on this market? Or more importantly, not what is your general sentiment of this market, but in the chat, what is your gauge of the general sentiment within this market? Like what other people think? Because you know how people always go, everyone's bearish, so I'm bullish. Or, you know, the opposite of that, which is obviously, it can never be true because it's like, you know, it's ridiculous. But I'm just curious, you know, what you've essentially been noticing recently, because I haven't been perusing too much across the webs because I want my content to be as fresh as possible, which I've now been being sent like some videos from other people who have some very interesting and similar ideas. even using the same verbiage, which is interesting, but whatever, man. Should probably just take it as a compliment. Anyways, Solana, again, look, short term, do you play it at a bounce here? If you're going to play at a bounce, this would be the area to do it from. But the problem is you already had one try, you already had two tries, both failed. I don't call any sort of a trap potential here as long as you're below 103 on a 4 hour. Above there, the likelihood of this being a trap gets increased significantly and fully confirmed on a daily above about 109, 110 with big targets up towards 130, probably just new highs in this rally here. Until that happens, is their risk lower? Is the probabilities in favor of lower continuation back down towards, $90 to $80? Yeah, I do think so. Again, similar setup here to Bitcoin, 5-day about to reach towards the bearish control zone and also losing the exponential on the 5-day RSI. And 5-day BBWP very, very low as well. And I'm sure that if we go over here, let me get rid of this chart for right now. We go reference momentum. I'm curious where those pain points are on the higher term timeframes. Weekly turns down below 89. 5-day, which is closing tonight, turns down below 122. We've all seen crazier things in like a 20% rally in a day, but I'd say it's unlikely as of right now. And daily is also fresh down below 101. So I'd go as far to say that as long as you're on a daily below about 101, very, very like this one does see next move to the downside. First stop maybe around like $89 to $90 for a short-term bounce, and then probably back down to your prior weekly lows from March. If I had to guess, again, going to be a lot more relevant to whatever Bitcoin does. And as of right now, Bitcoin, well, looks great on this chart. Really fucking good right here. All right, is this chart bearish or bullish? Looks pretty good to me. Looks pretty good to me. Until I realize that it's the fucking inverted chart. All right, we'll get off on that for a while. Let me see. Feltima says, "Hey Krown, what's up, man? Do you have an opinion on on-chain data?" My friend is giga bullish via on-chain. Oh, that's a surprise. Color me surprised. Really? I'm bullish long term. Yeah, me too, man. Choose like a 10-year time frame. Yeah, probably goes up. I'm pretty damn bearish right now and have been for the past week, but he tells me I need to stop relying primarily on TA. I think that is good to look at different sources of analysis. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I never feel compelled to convince anyone else of the efficacy of technical analysis or any sort of analysis for that matter. It doesn't matter. I only care about results. I only care about what my backtesting and statistical relevancy has shown me. I don't care about anything else. Everyone can have their own different sets of edges, and that's fine. We're all sort of different in that regard. Hey, 100%, man, all good. My problem with on-chain analysis is that on-chain analysis seems to be on-chain analysis seems to be an escape for permabulls to console themselves by always being bullish. It's like, oh, the coins are liquid now. They're being taken off the exchanges. Like they've always been taken off the exchanges. Like nothing's fucking new here. Bitcoin's gone up, gone down within the context of those, of that data. In my opinion, it doesn't offer up a good edge, at least from what I can see. Can I be wrong in that? 100% yes. It would be naive of me to say that technical analysis or any sort of analysis is the end all be all. Of course it's not. For any fucking analysis, it's never going to be perfect. All we're doing here is looking at statistical probabilities and setups. That's it. That's fucking it. There is no certainties. Whenever someone says, I called it, this was expected, this was a certain thing, I knew it was going to happen, you can't fucking do that. That is a 100% way, at least in my opinion, to know that person is full of fucking shit, and they probably over some period of time are not going to be consistent like that, because you can't be consistent like that. I've met some of the best traders, I think maybe even in the world, and they do not have a 100% hit rate. Why? Because you can't. You can't. There are 10 sigma events that will naturally happen over time. Hey, go back to March 2020. It happened right fucking there, for example. So my point is that, hey, there is no like one all, end all be all in terms of analysis. But as far as I've found in creating my own living, I have not found a way to make it work with on-chain. Doesn't mean that it can't be done. I'm sure that there's some people out there who do it. It would not be me. For myself, I found it best with tentacles and and really just kind of like being as simplistic as possible, to be honest with you, which is not a very sexy thing to say, but that has been my experience. Other than that, man, you know, look, I'm going to say something a little bit rude right now, and I don't mean anything bad towards this person. This person is probably going to end up being a great person, or he is a great person. He's just, you know, he's young. But the thing is that on-chain, like it's the idea of on-chain is no more... My cam is frozen. The idea of on-chain analysis, let me just fix this really quickly here. It is no more better stated than this. It has risen a 19 or 20-year-old person, you know, he's going to be great. He's going to be great. To financial stardom, to Bitcoin stardom, by basically just presenting only bullish things. To me, it's like people will throw all sort of, you know, logic out the window just to kind of believe in that. And fair enough, you know, if you want to do that, that's great. And maybe it ends up being right, but I haven't seen it consistent enough for me to put faith in it. And again, it's like, you know, if you're 19, 20 years old, can you really have experience in the markets? Not that much. And again, I'm not trying to like down talk anyone here. It's just, we don't think about these things because we get, you know, taken away by the funness of just being bullish, which is great. But at the same time, it's like, if your only experience is coming into a parabolic, just straight up only fucking market for a year or two, I can't really trust on-chain just from that, just personally speaking, man. Go down. KNC Meow says Blitzwin. Sure. All right, this is Kyber Network Derp. I remember this, and I remember it was one of the good ones from last week too. And I actually think it's gonna probably go for new highs here, or new highs on this rally at least. Where are we at long term? Yeah, new highs, man. This is good, really, really good. I think you got at least maybe one new high this week, but after that, it's like, is this thing gonna do well if Bitcoin dumps out? And I would invalidate one more move towards new highs if you do see a 4-hour closure below 460. Below there, I do look for this one to correct down towards $4 even, probably join the rest of the market. But I do think, you know, it's a little more likely to get one more grind to the upside here. 4-hour hidden bullish divergence, of course. And yeah, probably one more move to the upside. Actually, probably the best chart that we've seen today. Invalidation below 460 with targets down towards 4 and maybe even more over time towards 369. But for right now, okay. Or at least one of the better ones. What's up, Bear Nutrition? Good to see you, man. Good to fucking see you, brother. Cool. Kenny Renardi says, good morning, Krown. Can you please take a look at GMT? Yeah. Is this the one where like you run and you make money or something? I don't know. Seems like an interesting idea. It's genius. And another chart that's not bad. These last few charts that we've seen, they are different than the rest for certain. In this case, though, I do think this one is probably consolidating a little bit more, however, between about 350 highs and about $3 lows. And I do think that you probably gun for maybe one more grind of the lows, but again, a different chart than most of the other ones. It's this one a little bit more on the newer side, to be fair. So, you know, shouldn't get too carried away here, but I should be looking for another try towards new highs. Unless if one, you trade below $3, or two, very much validated above about 3.5 on a daily. Or sorry, we could actually, yeah, about 3.5 on a daily. Yeah, and let's see, what would the relevant targets be here? 385 would be one, and then you got like 4.25 or so. Other than that, you know, it is a little bit more difficult for me to be looking for an altcoin to continue, but especially given the market conditions. But you know, for right now, it's one of the better charts. One of the better charts. And maybe I'm even wrong about this one coming down and trying for a little bit of a higher low in the lower threes, and tries for like right around about 3.25. You know, that's just kind of how I see in the ranges right here. But yeah, one of the better ones, to be fair. So we'll see if it survives the storm, if Bitcoin dumps out. Yeah, if you ask about a 12 hour as well. Yeah, it'll be the same resolution points basically. You can maybe move that down to the upside from 350 to 345. Cool. And you're back again with Dose on Gate.io. Okay. Let's see what this one's like. Rapid Dose. Oh God. This is a completely new one for me, man. I've never seen this one. Oh, and we have one of these lovely straight down charts. That's really, really nice. That's really fucking nice. But it does seem to be putting in a bit of a reversal here, to be fair. Let's see, and you're on a what? A 4 hour and a daily. Daily actually have to be looking for another move up towards 15 and a half to 16 cents. Invalidations on this one below about 11 and a half. 4 hour, same thing, same invalidation to the downside. And until then, I'm actually probably looking for this one to give a run towards 15, 16 cents. It's actually okay. Again, I do feel compelled to say the same thing as the last one though. It's like, if Bitcoin were to dump out, do you expect this one to follow it or not? I mean, generally speaking, it does follow. But I would, if I'm just looking at this chart itself, I would not get bearish until below about 11.5 cent. At that point, I look for, you know, your 8 to 9 cent lows get retested and probably low over time. But for right now, it's actually, dare I say, among one of the better ones that we've seen in the short term, not in the long term, in the short term though. And then back again, baby. Gene USD, okay. Dose and Gene, like what's going on here? Are you sending messages, man? Oh, this is Geno Pets. I thought this was like gene therapy. Anyways, 4 hour and daily. This chart is actually kind of similar to the last one, very much reminiscent. Daily range to the upside 16 and 12, to the downside more like 12.40. Short term, are you more likely to bounce here or not? Again, it's like, do I favor a bounce if Bitcoin's kind of doing its thing right now? You know, I should not be saying that. So I'll give you kind of like a bullshit answer, but I do have to say this because I just feel it's more appropriate. Below 1390, even on like an hourly closure, and I do look for this one to kind of pull back a lot deeper first before anything else, perhaps all the way down to like mid to low 13s. Sorry, that being about 1320 to maybe even 12 and a half, something like that. Daily, I look at this one as okay, especially as long as you're above that $12.40 to $12.50 number on a daily closure. And I'd be looking for another retest of these highs from early April if you see any sort of even a 4 hour closure above 16 and in change. Very fucking bearish though, below 11.5. And so that's why I kind of draw the line at 12.5, just because, you know, coming down there is fine. A little bit below there, not so fine. And probably starts to undo this whole rally started in mid-March or so. Cool. Oh, there's Steve S. I see you, sir. HTR, is this Hathor? Elsa says a Hathor. She has like a accent with it. It's like, can you say Hathor? Hathor. Can you say it in the microphone, please? It sounds very Nordic. It sounds like something that you'd hear in Vikings. Yeah, not good. Yeah, you don't need me to tell you that. That's not good right there. Oh.
Hathor.
Look, long-term fucking ugly below 84 cents if you're on a weekly. But you're on an hourly and a 4 hour, so you don't give a fuck about that. Well, it's still kind of not great here and also not great here either. Short-term, you know, the thing is that you will be building some bullish divergences. So the question is, when did they play out? Well, in this case, I would not look for them to play out until you're at minimum closing hourly dildos back above 43.40. Above 43.40, I would look for another rally up towards 45 to 45 and a half. Other than that, heavy downside pressure, long term or even short term, as long as you're below about 46 and a quarter. So short term rallies are likely to lead towards continuation. 4 hour, not really give me any reason to believe that you're going to put in a low here. 4 hour BBWP expanding alongside 4 hour RSI making new lows on this run, and you know, yeah, any sort of an hourly rally probably gets undone. And I'd be looking for, I mean, you're already at your lows here, so it is relatively weak. I mean, if this thing breaks below like 40 cents or so, I'd be looking for this one to like really come down hard into the low 30s. But you know, if Bitcoin bounces, this one will as well. It's just not really getting many bounce signals right now from Bitcoin. The only thing holding me back from calling Bitcoin moving down from exactly here is just a simple fact that you know, the short-term momentum also is like it really wouldn't take too much to get a bounce. Even Bitcoin back above 39,300 would probably put in a nice bounce towards 39.6 to maybe even 40. But man, cool. Go down, you say. Old Man Yeet. nice name. Black beans hummus makes me happy in the pants. There's your positive message of the day. Getting some sex whores in, sir. Mr. Venegas, he's back. Good morning to you, man. Gary, okay. Gary. Okay, it's on TradingView, so it can't be, I mean, Well, I'm probably looking for this one a little bit further down. Maybe a short-term bounce at 55 cents, but I think that you've seen the highs on this rally for a little bit of time. Bearish divergence starting to form. Slight drives, to be fair, but it is present. I'd be first looking for a short-term bounce level like 55. That is nothing more than short-term. Ultimately, though, I do think that this one will find its way down towards 50 cents. Daily, this would be a fucking phenomenal place for your next lower high. You can already see it on daily RSI, major hidden bearish divergence developing. You know, you're probably gonna see one move down to the exponential, slight bounce there, put in a head and shoulders on the daily RSI, which actually those have really good hit rates, and then probably come down to at least 50. So long term, I'm probably looking for this one down to like 40, 44 to 45 before like the next daily bounce, but I'll be wrong on that, definitely, if you do see an hourly closure even above about 61 cents. But for right now, I think it's very likely you've seen the highs for a while. Okay. Nick San says, currently shorting the life out of Litecoin, Doggy, and Cardano? Why? Take your pick, hoping to hold it till Bitcoin halving. Well, I guess you're asking out of those three, which one's the most relatively weak? Let's see. Which one has the most potential down? I mean, Litecoin's always a good one to just be looking for failure on, but I don't know. You're kind of on the weekly 200 right here. I'm not a big fan of shorting into that regional, though. It's like also if you break it, probably going to come down hard to 55 or so. Let's see, Doggy. You know, Doggy, for all of its faults, I mean, yeah, I mean, this one probably has a 50% move down to like 6 or 7 cents. Oh, the song is about to be played, baby. The song is coming. You know, heavily bearish as long as you're below like 15, 16 cents. I mean, really fucking ugly there. Hidden bearish divergence on that last weekly high. Very low volatility. I mean, I think it's very likely to retest its 10-cent lows and then a break below there and 6, 7 cents where I would be looking toward. That's pretty fucking ugly too. Cardano is always interesting, but let's see where it's at. Same chart, basically. Same setup here too. You know, 50 cents I think would be the next markdown after taking out your current lows. So something like that. Still takes time. I mean, these things aren't happening today, but yeah, fair enough. Invalidations and very bullish, actually back above $1.25. I think it's unlikely, but that would be my conditions for such things. Cool. Jesse Lu, sorry, no, I just skipped. Adrian Rene says INJ USD. Okay. This is injective, I think. Did I do Nick? Yeah, I did Nick Sans, yeah. Very bad, very fucking ugly. Another chart that is in a heavy weekly downtrend, probably testing down towards $4 or so. Yeah, you're looking at daily, weekly, daily. Just fucking ugly. Just fucking ugly, man. You could maybe talk about a reversal back above like $7, but these are really fucking ugly, man. 5-day hidden bearish divergence, volatility about to tick up. 5-day jewel also trading down. I'd be looking maybe for another short-term bounce at 375, but yeah, we'll just leave that there. Nasdaq on the 4-hour and daily. Sure. We got Nasdaq futures over here. Oh no, not my DEX. Look, there's always going to be bounce along the way, right? But I do suspect that you're going to test your 15th of March lows, and you know, it's like it's coming back down to your lows to retest them like a powerful thing. No, man, look at the fucking monthly here. Just if you even see a tick below last month's low, March lows, which is 12,942.5, I'd look for this one over the next few months to find its way down first to 12,255. And then maybe long term around like 11,250 or so. I mean, hey, what's going on here with this chart? 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the monthly. What? Quarterly has 1, 2 drives of bearish divergence and coming off of extreme volatility reads. Weekly has volatility ticking up alongside downside momentum. This looks questionable. I'd be really fucking bullish back above about 14,700 or shit, even above last week's high, 14,400 or so. I'd be very, very bullish and call like a mega macro bear trap. But until that happens, at least for right now, man, I'd have to say that I'm more angled towards the downside here. 4-hour, I mean, wouldn't take too much to get a bounce relatively soon, maybe a little bit lower towards 13,160 or so, or 65. Cool. Angel said, or on hell says, cheers, man. I'm in a short. And oh, you're in a short. Okay, well, fair enough. Okay, so sorry. I typically assume that like people are usually looking at things from the long side, but I apologize because I assumed there and I made an ass out of myself, not you. I get it always. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Yeah. My bad on that one. That's embarrassing. Yeah. Okay. So for Kenny, we can do move, MOOV. Okay. Move. Should probably close the chats as well. Gate IO. Hey, another chart that, yeah, man, you found all of these charts that are not like the rest. Now, this one is retesting its highs from early April, so I do expect a pullback here, maybe a little bit lower towards 5.7. Maybe if things get really crazy, like 4.4 or 4.5. But this is good. It's, again, among the most bullish. Man, everyone should just fucking listen to Mr. Venegas. He's found like some diamonds in the rough, and mostly in an unprecedented market today. This is maybe the best chart actually, or certainly among the best charts. I'd be looking for new highs maybe this week. Short term, I do think that you got to pull back first, probably down to like 5.5. And again, if things get really crazy, like 4.3 to 4.4. But I have no reason to invalidate bullishness here, especially as long as you're closing dailies above like 3.5. I mean, if I'm going to be wrong on that, it's going to turn out to be devastating, but but yeah, different chart there for sure. All right, pin my message. Cool. Okay, let's replace that. There we go. All right, it's cool. Let's see. Okay, so, oh, sorry, that was that was not Venegas. That was fucking Kenny. My bad. Kenny got one though. Okay, let's see. Jay Header says AMP 4-hour and daily on Gemini. Okay, yeah. Huh? Okay. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, AP. Oh, god damn it. I'm just reading the comments here, YouTube. Don't get any crazy ideas. Good chart though. Again, among some of the better ones. There's really just not much to be looking at here on a daily though. That's the problem. It's too new. 4-hour, I like the uptrend and I respect it, especially as long as you're above $14.90 to $15. That does mean that corrections can come down there quite easily and probably does come down there. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of bearish divergence on 4-hour RSI, 4-hour Joule starting to tick down, and 4-hour volatility looking like it's set to expand. So I do expect that you correct down there. Other than that, you know, I would have to say that I probably would be looking for another move to the upside overall as long as you're above about $14. What about an hourly here? Hourly actually doesn't look too bad right now either. So, you know, maybe I'm even wrong about the short-term move to the downside. Either which way, though, I would not call a continuation move until basically you're closing above 1770. At that point, I guess new highs, and I don't really have a good way of setting in targets on something that's this new, to be honest with you. So I'd just be looking for new highs, I guess. But if that were to happen, generally speaking, though, I do think it's more likely to pull back first and then give a try, assuming that it doesn't take out like $14 lows. Okay, let's see where we at. AMP for and daily on Gemini. Got it. All right. I know that we've looked at this one before, but I forget what it looks like. Not good. Not fucking good again. Long-term, weekly, extremely fucking bearish, below 3 cents. Doesn't mean that I can't get back above there, but as long as it's below, quite bearish. Daily, to be fair, you know, is creating or is going to very easily make some pretty significant bullish divergence here. It'll be confirmed on with any sort of a daily closure above 2.4 cents, with targets probably up towards, you know, 2.7, maybe even 3 cents, and, you know, could reverse off of that hopium. But again, contingent first and foremost upon that daily above 2.4. Until then, hopium is canceled. Long term, next move down, probably looking at around 1.9 to 1.8 region, something like that. Yeah, not super hot on this chart. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it right there. Mr. Don't Ask 007 says Bitcoin making a daily bear flag or head and shoulders on weekly. Yeah, I know that people are bringing up this bear flag over here. I would just say that you should probably backtest those formations on a time frame like this. I haven't found good results with them. Is it a head and shoulders? I don't think it's. I think it's a Jesus toast, man. From what I see, or from what I'm looking at, or at least from what I've explained earlier, sort of my thought processes on why I think things go lower. It has nothing to do with Head and Shoulders, which I don't see here, nor does it have anything to do with a bear flag. If it's a bear flag, then you're technically targeting probably like, well, let's just see what the technical target here would be. 20,000, which could be, or sorry, it's actually gonna be a little bit lower than that. A little bit below $20,000. Possible, yes, but I don't see those hit out, and it certainly wouldn't be my first target here as well. If you play it as a channel, then you're probably looking at like 29 to 31,000 bucks, which is kind of what I think is a little more likely. And those do have a higher hit rate, but still not the best. Still, triangles do a fair bit better, at least from what I've seen. Alphabet Crypto says, Alphabet Crypto, OCC USD, okay. All right. All right, this is a new one. Very fucking bad. Very fucking bad. Look, there's probably gonna be bounce along the way, but I would strongly believe that this one does come down to like 65, below 70 cents, somewhere between 60 and 70 cents in the coming weeks. Is there going to be bounces before then? Maybe yes. If Bitcoin bounces, maybe see this one back up towards $110 or somewhere around there. But I don't see anything, or there is no talks of long-term macro reversals or bear traps or anything like that, as long as you're below 155, and that's like more than a 50% move than where you're at right now. This is just fucking, look, it's only ever gone fucking down. It's bad. It's very fucking bad. It's very fucking bad. I'm not trying to talk shit about you as a person, but as a chart, fucking terrible, man. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. What the fuck? What the hell happened to this chart, man? What's going on here? FTM on the daily, sure. No one's asked about Luna today, not even once. I want to look at Luna for my own knowledge. Ah, I see. I think you get another pity bounce, like around your September lows from last year. But this one's acting pretty weak here. I remember they had like something going on with their dear leader or something like that. Look, long term, very fucking bad, below about $1.50. Above $1.50, hey, we have a macro bear trap here with targets back up towards $2.50, $3. Shit, even just back above last week's high, and I look for this one to put in a big rally towards $1.50 actually. So that'd be quite good. But do I think that's what the most likely thing to happen right here? Probably not, or at least not. Oh, God. Oh, God. Long term, I think this one's coming back down to 55 cents to 60 cents. Just opinion. Venegas is acting about Hex. All right, well, Hex will certainly be bullish. When Pulse, man? I've been told Pulse is like 2 weeks away for the last 7 months. I'm actually like genuinely wondering, because I did sacrifice to it. It's like, when is it coming out? Is it coming out? You're spreading FUD, Krown. I'm going to get like the Hex crew on my back now. It's like, Jesus Christ. Just asking questions, man. You're not allowed to ask questions. And it's like, those are the same people who have a lot of questions with current things going on in the world. Interesting. Anyways, down. Probably looking back down towards 11.5 cents. Probably looking short-term down again. I would switch around to being massively bullish on this one above 16.25. See, what are my LARP lines doing here? Yeah, my LARP lines say back down here. We've already gotten that move. The hopium is that you trade back above 16.5. Yes, I agree with that still. And I'd look for big rallies up into the 20s. The doomium is that you close below your 11 cent lows, and at that point I do look for this one to initiate big moves down towards 7, 6, maybe even 4 cents over a long period of time. Monthly. To be fair, it's actually holding up a little bit better than some of the other majors that we saw. So, got to give it its due diligence, right? Other than that, though, I'm more inclined to say this one probably trades to the downside. 2-day, which is closing not tonight actually, but it does have potential hidden bearish ever, and it's not confirmed though. So we'd have to come back tomorrow and look at that one. I do want to check out Luna while we're here, just to see. Hey, Luna actually kind of keeping it up right there. Is it gonna salvage itself? I still do think that this one does eventually come back down towards those $75 to $80 lows from the last couple of weeks. The only invalidation that I'd have for that is above about 96.5. Until that happens, I do think that this one does probably correct down there. 5-day, I think it's going to take a while though, man. And then again, I look at the weekly and I might be very much wrong on this one. Yeah, I think I'll hold off on making a video on this one because I don't feel too confident on it right now. Let's see, maybe stochastic momentum will give us a bit of a better bias. Maybe there's some obvious over here. 5-day is down below 108. Daily is going to turn down below 88, and you're actually above there right now. So okay for now. And weekly is fresh down below 103.40. I'm seeing a lot of conflicting signals here, but if I did call it, I do think that this rally will fail and probably come back down towards somewhere just below $80 or so, somewhere around there. Anyways, cool. Let's see. Hey, Nikki Page giving out some really solid and lucid advice. That's awesome. Sambo Banjo says Richard Hart said last week that Pulse Chain launch should be mid-May. I feel like I've literally heard this a million times now. I'm not trying to like rant on anyone's parade. It's just I've heard that like so many times now. At what point, and I'm actually curious. Look, the Hex crew can't come after me. I sacrificed probably a good amount to this project. But well, thank God I don't need it too much right now because it's been quite some time. it's been a little bit of time. It's gonna happen. Yes, I trust. Yeah. 24K club demands tribute. Perhaps yes. Yeah, I think maybe we'll look at one last one here. I see someone asking about XRP, and I think we'll end on this one because XRP is always a fun one. Yeah, it's coming down to a 65-cent target. And I think it's going to extend those targets back down to your January lows. Yeah, ugly. Very bearish below 85 cents. Very likely to come back down below 60 cents. 5-day closing tonight. Oh! Oh! No. I saw a $50 target on XRP by some big channel recently. I think they meant 50 cents.
Do you want a Hex credit card?
Do I want a Hex credit card? No, not really. I'm cool with my current one, but I appreciate the offer. But when I need it, I'll let you know. XRP hurt me today. Yeah, I think it's been hurting a lot for many. I'm sorry to hear that though, man. But yeah, I'd be looking for this one to crack down to the monthly 55 in the next couple months here. I have nothing bullish to say about this thing, especially as long as you're below like what was it, 85 cents or so. Yeah. You could even say like 88 cents. By the way, Elsa and I have been watching the fucking dumbest TV show recently. It's literally called Is It Cake? It's exactly what it sounds like too. Like these bakers make cakes that look like real shit, and then they're really fucking good. Yes, that is true. And then these judges come out and they judge the cakes to see if they can tell which one's the actual cake and which one's not. And like they always win. It's insane. They always fucking win. It's pretty silly though. It's pretty fucking silly. Yeah, man, I think that's going to be it for today. What's up, Atif? Good morning to you, man. I see you over there. Joseph Garati, AVAX. Okay. I do think it trades down, but that's pretty far down there, man. It wouldn't be my first target just yet. Richard Hart trying to release Pulse during the bottom of bear market. Yeah, I mean, that'd be smart. He did it with Hex and yeah, I mean, it's honestly wise. I mean, Richard Hart, he's very fucking smart. He's very fucking smart. Hey, what's up, Philson? What's up, Mr. Philson? I feel like it's been a while. Mr. Zach Clark. Holy shit. There he is. What's up, Abraham? What's up, Mr. Leadham? Dude, we got to do another one of those roundtables again. That was fun. That was super fun. And people, it seemed like people generally liked it. So all good, man. Bitcoin is going to 100 million tomorrow. Man, that's amazing. I'm spending it right now. Buying. Amazing. Alrighty, sirs and sirs, I need to sign off. I'm desperately hungry and I want to wish you well. We're going to be back on live stream Wednesday and then another regular video uploaded tomorrow. I also got an interview with Fibbo Swanee that I probably end up releasing today, actually. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And then we'll also have TED Talks Macro tomorrow as well. So looking forward to all that. Wishing everyone well yet again. Hopefully my somewhat ill-formed jokes did not do too much offensive things, but with that in mind, wishing you all well as always, and see you hopefully soon. With that said, take care, and until next time.
Bye.
write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, blend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it,